I'm Terry David Mulligan. This is Mulligan Stew, CKA Radio. This is a big deal because I've got two guys on screen in front of me for the video, by the way, which you can find on the YouTube channel. But Karrnnel Sawitsky, fiddle and viola, is supposed to be in Toronto. That's what threw me because Beth had said you'll be in Toronto, but you live in Toronto. And Trent Freeman, fiddle and viola, from Vancouver. But where are you both now?
We're actually in Minnesota for a friend's wedding.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, another musician pal. So we're all down here for that.
Yeah.
Very nice. That's surprising as hell.
Yeah, for us too.
There's so many directions I want to go in this. I got to focus now. I had a conversation, as you know, with Madeleine Roger about her solo album and your album, her 3 songs on your album, Glass Wing. I was so excited for her that her voice is blended with your instruments is just absolutely perfect. But I think you know that.
We're pretty stoked. I mean, it's one of those things where we heard her, I think at different times individually, then we heard her at a festival and asked her to go on tour with us. And right from the first show of that first tour, we we're like, oh, this is just like a glove. This is meant to be. And then going through the creative process and writing and recording with her was just like further amplifying that kind of perfect fit. So yeah, it's amazing.
I'm excited for it. And the fact that you are writing together.
Yeah, so much of the fretless sound has been sort of developed because we've spent so much time playing together and working on music. The 4 of us really kind of honing in on listening to each other and developing that sound together. So having a longer term relationship with the singer has sort of brought the vocal performance to that same level that the strings have been for the past decade, you know?
Did your album Open House kind of set this in motion when you realized that vocals could work with what you were doing?
Yeah, totally. And we've kind of always done it, actually. We started with Ruth Moody collaborating on our first record.
Yeah.
But then Open House was really a deep dive into being an accompanying string quartet for singers.
It's so damn good. I can't believe what it is. As a matter of fact, when I hit Pipe Dream, I thought, why is this not the first single?
We've been hearing that.
Yeah,
we've heard that a couple times.
Yeah, our publicist.
Guys, it's a single. It's an absolute single. It's just fantastic. And it grooves.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
great to hear, man. Thank you so much.
When you talk about working on your sound, you've just advanced it another mile down the road. It's the combination of the vocals and what you're doing, and you guys being the band, so to speak. You just drive the song. It's fantastic.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
That whole journey of finding your sound, which intrigues me, because sometimes I ask singers, not all, but some, how long did it take you to find your voice? And they know what I'm talking about. They instantly jump into it because you have to figure out what is the voice? How do you use it? How do I fit with my music? How does this work? Where do I fit in the overall scheme of things? What am I? And so the sound, how long did it take? When did it click? When did it actually start to move forward collectively?
I don't know why, but this imagery kind of popped in my head with that question, because I think it's almost like a multi-barrel click where it's like, I feel like the first time we worked together as a group, we were working on like writing Waterbound, and there was some tracks, I think even today, we're like, that's pretty good. Like even after 12 years, that kind of like, I think that is the origins of like some click that happened that just kind of worked. And then I think fast forward 6 albums later into Glasswing and like focusing on songs and tunes that we've written 100% from top to bottom. And then also just focusing on the live sound of the show. I think that was like the next level of click, where it's just like, we realized so much, like it's more listening in my opinion than playing. Cause it's like the cohesive unit is really what makes it magical, as opposed to just like, here, this is me playing. That's not really what it's about for us.
It's interesting. I've written a whole series of questions and things and facts and things that clicked in my mind. But what fascinates me about what you're doing, what you're up to, and where you're going, it carries itself. It has it's a weighty subject that you're heading into. You're not your folk, your classical, your traditional music, but even the traditional stuff that you play has a different lilt to it, has a different feel to it. You're breaking new ground, and I'm applauding from my end of the country.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, it does feel like it is drawing from all of those things for sure, but it really is like this, years of playing together and kind of honing in on the moments that we love and expanding that. Like, you know, playing a fiddle tune has so much history behind it and has so much tradition and direction and knowledge within every note of it. But then we've kind of figured out which little moments we can expand completely to just be ourselves.
One of the tracks on the Glasswing that stopped me was Queen Nancy, the Queen Nancy.
Oh yeah.
Is that a person or is it a boat? Is it a vessel? What is it?
Nice. That's it's two different tunes. The first was a tune that Ben wrote for his broken down car named Nancy. And then the second tune is a tune that I wrote when we were actually couldn't make it to a gig in Vancouver because the storms on the Georgia Strait were so bad that we couldn't get across the sea.
Yep.
So we wrote that tune there. And named the set after the BC Ferries, the Queen Nancy is sort of the idea of that. Yeah.
So when you start, my mindset is when I hear some of the tunes that you've done over the years, I'm thinking that we're back in the Maritimes and you're heading in that direction where fiddle tunes around a kitchen are everything.
Mm-hmm.
Hear it in the streets, you know. Mm-hmm. But then you just lift it and move it along. It's an ever moving target. Why am I talking about this when you guys are the guys I come to interview? You had a profound effect on me, this music.
Oh.
Then when you started when you did open house, and I thought, oh, right. Oh, that just opens up everything. It's fantastic. So, and then Madeleine, I've been friends with for years. And I suggested to Birthday Cake that they might want to take a look at Madeleine and her vocals.
Oh yeah,
she's right underneath your nose, and they did it.
Well, I like that you bring up like the Maritimes and sitting around and listening to fiddle tunes, because I feel like a lot of modern fiddle arrangements, which we're totally influenced by, but there's, you know, the tune is happening, and then there's Madeleine coined this actually, the gotcha moments, where it's like, okay, now you play the fiddle tune and then you do something flashy. That's cool. But our idea is more to like immerse into one vibe for the entire tune, and that almost feels more like more kitchen in a way. More, it's like this one immersive vibe for an entire tune that feels better to us.
Karrnnel, tell me about Little Sneak.
You know, I wrote it for my son. He's 6.5 now, but Jagger's his name, and he's, you know, he's a sneaky little guy. Every time he would get out of the bathtub, he would dry himself off as quickly as he could, then run downstairs to my office, hide underneath my desk, and push print on the printer and print these pages that I still don't know how he gets them printed. And I don't know why he did that. He doesn't know why. I ask him now. But yeah, it was just like a little tune, a little sneaky melody that I always have that vision in my head whenever I play it. And so, yeah.
I see, by the way, Trent, that you're going to be playing Comox, which is your hometown, is it?
Yeah, it's where I grew up fiddling.
Merville Hall. Rockin' Merville Hall.
I love that spot. And you know, it's my dad actually that books it. he kind of spearheads all the music that happens there.
But you played there before, so
yeah. We play there a lot. We love it.
One of my favorite things about playing there is watching Trent's face when his dad introduces the band, because it's like different every time. It's amazing. You
start October the 3rd in Fanny Bay. So I'm thinking there's that hall at the end of the street. There's the FBI. There's Fanny Bay Inn.
Yeah.
Where are you playing?
The community hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is good, guys. Because you think here's the thing I love about this: you start October the 3rd in Fanny Bay, you finish October the 11th. No, you finish in Toronto.
Yeah, on the 20th. We haven't done a cross Canada tour. This is our first one.
Yeah.
Well, it really isn't quite. You didn't.
Okay, you're right. It's not quite.
It's a big country. You know that.
Yeah.
The three songs, I want to talk about the three songs if I can. Caledonia, not Caledonia, not the blues shouters Caledonia. It's about a place on the planet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Madeleine kind of began writing the lyrics and the poem of the song on one of her trips to Scotland. Just Caledonia is the old name for that country. And then we also just love the fiddle style there and the tradition and feel very welcomed, and like we kind of feel a part of that scene in a way. There's so much progressive fiddle music going on there that they really like what we do as well. So that tune kind of came about as a representation of our appreciation for Caledonia.
And Pipe Dream, I just say I'm going to, as a matter of fact, it's on a Saturday show. I fit it in between. I can't remember. I'll tell you in a second. And Icarus finishes is the third one, correct? And you wrote it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. We pretty much write everything in a group, in a circle. Icarus started. I'd kind of been working on that for a while before. For a long time, actually, that one had just been percolating, but it really kind of found its legs with the Fretless.
One of my favorite images of that writing process to jump in is we were writing at my house in Toronto, and I had to go downstairs and deal with Jagger for a second. And then I come upstairs to our second level and I see the rest of the band with Madeleine sitting in Jagger's playroom around a bunch of Lego working on Icarus. And I was like, what am I going to do? And they're just like, I don't know, just play around. It's just like, yeah. And that's basically my part for Icarus, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, Karrnnel just makes effects.
Glasswing, is that where did the phrase come from? The word?
It's a butterfly, and we were just sort of looking for imagery that felt elegant and delicate, but had this sort of beauty and power to it, and that kind of came to the top when we were kind of tossing around images.
Yeah, and that whole kind of image with the transparent wing of the glasswing butterfly, and kind of showing who we are and kind of what we.
And the natural evolution of a butterfly.
Yeah.
Felt appropriate.
It's pretty formal stuff there, guys. It's
we just think it's pretty.
Yeah.
No, it is. I thought maybe it was part of an instrument. I love the Lost Lake that kicks it off. I just love that. It's
fantastic.
Is it your show opener? Would you open with that?
I think we are. Yeah. I think you will have to come to see.
It sets it up, doesn't it?
Sets up the whole thing for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going back to Open House for just a second. So you had Joey Landreth, you had Ruth Moody, you had Dan Mangan.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan and I have talked about that track. And he said, it was fantastic. We had the same reaction to what it sounded like and the possibilities for you down the road. And so you're seeing those possibilities now. The press release talks a lot about the setup of the stage. What's it going to look like? What's it going to sound like?
So I guess from a like production standpoint of the show, the vision is like, treating every visual element of the show as being thought of and designed, kind of from that theater perspective where, they think of everything of, the whole visual and audio experience of the show is thought of and supposed to be, a part of the story of the night. And I think that's what we're kind of going for. So we've got a set design by Jillian Gallo. And it's kind of in line with the album Glasswing, a lot of pinks and transparent kind of features. And then we've got a lighting designer, Emerson Kafarowski from Toronto, who's going through and, matching the every song to a lighting design for each song that'll hopefully kind of amplify the experience.
Oh, of course it will. Of course. A basic question about the instrumentation, all through mics, some of them plugged in.
we do as many mics as we can, and then the cello has a little bit of DI in there as well, just for some low end. But everything else is mic. Eric on the cello blends a mic and a pickup.
And you guys talked about the sound. What I love, what my ear hears is the combination, especially in the low register, of the vibrations. Just what the instrument gives you, and on some tones, some notes, some scales.
Yeah, there's so much reverberance there, and the wood just speaking to each other. And then on the record, we've been working with Joby Baker from Victoria for many of our albums, and we just love the way he treats our tone and really kind of captures what we feel being super close into these instruments.
Yeah.
He's able to translate that.
Mulligan Stu, CKUA Radio, Trent Freeman, and Karrnnel Sawitsky from the Fretless. And if you misspell it, you'll get the Fraggles on Google.
Our nemesis band.
There's a story here. Hold on just a second. Trent.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience at Dead Brilliant Camp and Natalie McMaster. Tell me that.
Oh, the Pure Dead Brilliant Camp. Yeah, we were invited to teach at the Pure Dead Brilliant Camp, which is Hanukkah Castle's camp that she runs
in Boston, right?
Yeah, just outside of Boston. And we all grew up as camp kids. We went to lots of fiddle camps around Canada and the States, and it's just such a good community. And you know, you're like, you learn all day from one of your heroes, and then they're sitting next to you at night jamming fiddle tunes. And that was a super formative experience for all of us. And then to get the chance to go back and teach at some of these camps is always wonderful. And we did that for this most recently in January at the Pure Dead Brilliant Camp, and felt that same energy and sort of vibrancy from the students there. They were learning some tunes from us, and then we'd be jamming all night. And yeah, I think I mentioned this special moment where, like, sitting next to Natalie McMaster playing one of her tunes, and it's the best. And then a kid beside us starts kicking into one of our tunes, and you just kind of feel this whole like cycle of life in a way of music, and felt, yeah, pretty special to be a part of that.
This might not be something that you have a lot of dialogue about, but I bet you have conversations about where exactly you're fitting, where it is your home base in terms of the spectrum of music that we're hearing. There's so much. There's so many releases, so many bands, so many tours. Where do you fit? Are you folk? Are you classical? Are you heritage music? What is it? And have you found your own groove?
Yeah, that's a continual conversation for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason it pops in my head. I had another conversation with I think it was a newspaper in Saskatchewan, and they had a similar question, and I kind of reflected on the fact of, like, we go to a classical festival and we're like welcomed with open arms, but like, anyways, we feel a little bit like the outsiders because we're not classical.
Yeah.
But in the same context, we go to a folk festival and we're welcomed with open arms.
Oh,
but we're not really a folk band, so we're always kind of welcomed, and also not the perfect definition of whatever that festival is. And to me, it's like that kind of describes of who we are, which is like, we're the band that can jump into those various things, but it's just kind of, you know, its own little thing. I don't know if that answers it, but
you did some symphony sessions. What was a dialogue like between you and the players around you during rehearsal or in between sessions?
You know, those are still coming up. Actually, we had some planned before COVID that got postponed, and now they're just sort of coming up now. But we've done lots of workshops at universities with classical students, and just trying to, I feel like one thing we have to offer in the classical world is our experience listening and playing together and taking the music off the page and presenting something that you really feel, and playing together in a way that is sort of beyond the normal classical experience. It's just like, it's the main, like, nothing we're doing is technically harder than anything a fifth grader classical prodigy could do, you know?
But don't you love that? Don't you love the fact that you're actually at the cutting edge of something here? You're actually setting something in motion. Who knows who's going to follow, influenced by you guys?
Well, it feels nice to hear you say that.
Yeah.
We're aiming for something like that, but yeah.
I'm going to come full circle with one of my questions. I talked about what it was like to find your sound and find your voice and move forward. Where was the first time that we got it, the audience, when you all of a sudden realized that the wash back from the audience was strong and sustained?
Whew.
I can think of one moment actually,
Yeah.
which was at the Rogue Folk Club in Vancouver.
Okay.
The very first time we performed Bird's Nest. And we just spent all day finishing the arrangement in a hotel room downtown Vancouver. And then we're like, are we going to try this tonight? And it felt like that arrangement felt like a little progression in our sound to me. And then we performed it that night, and the crowd reaction, there was like the classic sort of silence and sigh and then applause.
Karrnnel?
It's like a little bit different moment, but when we finished Waterbound, we applied. Like it felt like we made something. We're like, hey, this is fun, but like, what are people going to say to it? And then we applied for the Canadian Folk Music Awards, and then just like getting those nominations the first time, it felt like, hey, I think people kind of like this, and it felt like a little bit of a validation of like, I think we're onto something.
Has anybody shot a documentary on you guys yet?
I hope not.
Have they not?
No, I don't think so.
No, we did a little like behind the scenes thing for our live album, Live from the Art Farm, but not a full on doc. Yeah.
Well, no, but the story, I love the story, but as you can tell, it's fodder for conversation. I'm with Critics Choice in Los Angeles, the Critics Group Association. And right now we're going through all the documentaries for awards. There's 300 documentaries to screen, but you guys would fit perfectly. I'm just telling you, you guys would fit perfectly. This story would be beautiful. Now, so it leads me to a question about, and I may have missed this completely. You should be being considered for soundtracking for film. Are you doing that?
I've done a bit personally. As a band, we've had a few things picked up here and there. But it's not something we've like really dived into.
Yeah, I've had one conversation with a friend. Like my wife's an actress, so, and she does a bunch of writing with writing partners, and we've got some producer friends. And one of our writer friends has he said, I would love to write a movie with you guys where you guys just do the soundtrack. And that's the furthest I think I've ever gone in a conversation in that, which would be pretty fun as a band to do.
We'd love to do it, I think. Yeah, it'd be.
Yeah. And excuse this because I haven't been in the same room with you, but are cellos making their way into the mix?
Cellos?
Yeah.
Well, Eric's rocking the way on the cello all the time.
Okay. I'm sorry. I missed that one. It's just the sound of the cello and the viola. That's, I think, what catches my ear first.
Yeah.
I just love that tone.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Well, I talk about the tour for just a second. I left it at Fanny Bay in Cobalt, but you're hitting Victoria October the 5th, Vancouver the 6th, Nelson the 9th, and then in Calgary on the 10th and Edmonton on the 11th. Where are you playing in Calgary and Edmonton?
We're playing the Grand Theater in Calgary. And then in Edmonton, we're playing at the Trifo Theater at McCune University.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And where's the stage in Montreal?
We're playing Le Jesus, the jazz club downtown Montreal.
Wonderful. And Toronto.
We're playing the Great Hall on Queen's Street.
Wow. This is the joyous music. It lifts my spirits. It makes me feel better just listening to it. And I listen to a lot of music.
Yeah, you do.
A lot of music. You have marked my soul with this music. I love it.
Thank you so much,
Terry.
Terry.
A lot. Yeah.
What next? I realize you've just released the album. The question is, what next? Where do you take this?
It's interesting. Like this is one of the first times that I've felt like we need to sit with this moment, and I haven't actually been thinking of what's next musically.
Okay.
We've got this big tour coming up in this album, and it does feel like we've kind of landed on the sound that feels the most like us, that out of any other release, it just feels like a special
Now,
thing.
if thank you for saying that. If Madeleine's career takes off the way I think it's going to,
She's gonna leave us in the dust.
I'm hoping that you can continue. That's all.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hope.
All right, guys. Thank you for this. If I don't see you in Fanny Bay or Comox, I will find you in Victoria.
Amazing.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Thank you for the music. Thank you for the videos. And I'll be playing these tunes, and I'll be waving the flag. Okay.
Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, thank you for all the
Appreciate
kind
that
words
a
and
lot.
support for us and for everybody in the
For
district.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing work.
Thank you very much.